Board of Education of the Tuxedo Union Free School District on this Friday, April 17th, 2026. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We don't have a district clerk tonight, so is somebody else volunteering to be the district clerk?
If you want me to be the pro tem, I'll do that. In which case, I guess you're going to take roll.
We're sure do.
Okey-doke.
So we'll now call roll.
All right. President Gary Hebner.
Here.
Okay. Vice President Susan Mitchell.
Here.
And second Vice President Bonnie Takeuchi.
Here.
And Will Clark.
Here.
Conway Rowntree.
Here.
Fritz Scanlon.
Here.
Bonnie Takeuchi.
Here again.
Alrighty. And John Michelle.
Here.
Is Haley here?
All right, we have, and Haley Donnelly.
Here.
She is our student representative of the Board of Ed. She's president. And so we have a quorum.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Gary?
Maybe it is so. Yes.
Okay,
You wanna, let's go. Yeah.
okay. So, do I have,
Public comment?
yeah, is
If there's
everybody
no
okay if
objection.
we just skip to public comment if there's no objection? Okay. So we're gonna take public comment at this time. We are now in the part of the meeting where we are opening up to public comments from our community members. The Board of Education encourages public participation on school-related matters at board meetings. The Board of Education invites comments from the school district residents, members of the board, appointed committees regarding the subject matter of their committees, and members of the instructional and non-instructional staff. In order to afford all persons interested in addressing items on the agenda before the board, a limitation of 3 minutes per speaker shall be placed upon those who comment during the public comments parts of the agenda. When you are recognized by the board president or vice president, please state your name, and either the Board of Education or the superintendent is able to engage in public comments of a personal or personnel nature. Please direct your comments directly to the vice president. Is anybody interested in making a public comment? Come on up, please.
Is there any emergency sounds or?
Just come to the middle there.
Or the close figures in between.
Yeah, and we're directing kind of
I'll let you know if it's too quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
towards there.
My name is Elena Heimel, and I'm a student here at Georgia Baker. And I'm here today because I just wanted to talk about the music program and how much it means to us as students. Because to be truthful, the music program at our school is more than just a class. It's also a community and a voice. And for many of us, it's the reason why we're at school. And at this school, the teacher-to-student ratio is 1 teacher for every 6 students. But in the the ratio of teachers to students in the musical program or classes is 1 to 32, which is not including the George Grant Mason choir. It is evident that there is tremendous support in our school for this program, and the music program has always traditionally been a big part of the school. And many newcomers who first join our school are very attracted to it. People come to our concerts, they don't just clap politely, but they are also genuinely engaged. And I've had people who come to our concerts tell me that I've never seen a school concert like this is the coolest concert I've been to. So, and that doesn't happen by accident. It happens not only because students are given the chance to be part of something meaningful and something that can stay with them even beyond graduation, but it also, this happens through our amazing music teachers that guide us through it all. And cutting from this program isn't something that wouldn't just reduce numbers on the spreadsheet, but it would also take away community opportunities, passion, and the space where students can thrive. And for some students, music is the one place where they feel like they can succeed when they feel like they can do nothing right. And they find discipline, confidence, and belonging here in this program. And the school should be more than just efficient, it should also be impactful. And our music program is exactly that. So I understand every cut that you're going to do for this budget is going to hurt. I'm asking you to look beyond the numbers and the people and the growth and the irreplaceable experiences this program provides. And because once, there's less access to it, there's not as many opportunities to be as part of it anymore. We don't just lose a class, we don't just lose engagement, but we also lose something that what makes our school different and special from other schools. So yeah, that's all I just wanted to say.
Anybody, another public comment? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Rebecca. I'm here to talk about the importance of the music program and how important it is to other students. Firstly, everyone in the program is welcomed in with kindness and that they are wanted there. Since the music program is voluntary, everyone in it wants to be there and wants to do good, which makes the outcome of everything put on by the music program so much more than just a completed song or a play, but the product of passion, dedication, hard work, and friendship. As of now, there are 13 kids in high school band, 21 kids in middle school band, 21 kids in elementary school band. Also, there are 22 kids in middle school chorus and 9 kids in high school chorus. Between the high school and the middle school and the elementary school, 42 kids participated in the 2 school plays this year. That means 128 kids are involved in the music program in total across all the schools. And only 2 teachers run it all with all the dedication and care that they put into it. They are both needed in order for everything to run the way it does. Without them, the music program wouldn't be possible to the extent it is today. So please consider how effective the music program and students in it would be if anything from it was cut. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brooke, and Alina, if I may ask, what are other classes you're passionate about, and how does this compare to those?
I'm passionate about like all the arts. I'm very involved in ceramics, for example. I just feel like so much more belonged in band, and I have like a really good relationship with all the people in band as well. Like some people in my ceramics class, for example, like I don't get along with too well, but in band I get along with everyone, and everyone's very like caring and sweet, and it's very like I want it there.
Should I woke up?
You can speak for
Okay.
it. It's fine.
Yeah, aside from, band, jazz ensemble, choir, I'm also in the STAC, the Intro to American Music, and I find that class very enjoyable. And also in the history class, the Global 2 course, and the English class as well, I enjoy thoroughly. So it's not just, even though the music is a very big part of who I am as a person, there's also many other art-based classes that I find myself very engaged in and that I connect to as well a lot. So yeah.
Thank you.
We have others that want to make a comment? Come on up.
Hello, my name is Anastasia Kaplan, and I'm a student here at Joseph Baker. I joined this high school band and the jazz ensemble this school year, and words can't describe the positive effects it had, not only on my musical ability, but also my overall confidence and self-esteem. I first started learning saxophone back in September, and I remember wondering myself, why did I sign up if I wasn't going to dedicate the time to this instrument? But the teachers and my classmates in the band helped me feel comfortable and supported, and thanks to Mr. Chan, I began making progress in my instrument. This experience not only has given me the ability to play it, but also has given me lifelong skills such as self-discipline and collaboration. My teacher saw the potential in me even when I couldn't, and I'm not the only one who feels like this. Every year, I'm impressed with how the elementary and middle school aged kids perform, and cutting from the music program would mean that we wouldn't be able to allow these kids to reach their full potential. I understand that cutting any program hurts, but if you cut the music program, it wouldn't just hurt, but everyone would be devastated.
Thank you. Anyone else who wants to come up?
Hi, my name is Casey Donnelly. Today I am your student ex officio member, but I'm speaking as a member of the school district for 13 years instead of my official position as ex officio. This is more from my heart rather than anything else. I already noticed a lot of support for the music program. I have a whole thing prepared for that, but I'll just be quick with it. It has been a crucial part of my time here. I've been involved in orchestra since 2nd grade, and I've done a whole host of things, and I've had so many opportunities given to me by this music program, such as being able to do 7 consecutive years in All County Orchestra and had the privilege of performing in the area All-State Orchestra, all because of our music educators, and specifically Mr. Chan, who supported me for many years of music education. And to me, it's just heartbreaking that we have to cut anything at all, but the music program has such an impact on me, and as you can see, so many other students, that it is truly, truly one of the most important things in my time here, alongside my regular education. And another thing that I had, previously thought about was our access to AP classes. That has been such a massive deal for me. I get to go into college considered a sophomore with the amount of credits I have. I have received about 32 college credits with just the amount of classes that I've been able to take here, which is truly extraordinary. Like, the amount of education and just the help that all of my teachers who have prepared me for these national exams so effectively to get these high scores. It has just been such a privilege to have such amazing teachers and have such amazing programs that allow me to get ahead and pursue what I want to in college more effectively just through their amazing teaching.
Kaylee, can you share what you're going to be studying and where you're going to college?
I'm committed to SUNY Binghamton, and I'm studying biological sciences on a pre-PA track at the moment. And it's just, I wouldn't have been able to as confidently commit to college and feel as comfortable going to college without the support from my teachers and my AP classes and my regular classes as well. It's been a very impactful thing for me in the past 2 years to be able to take these college classes in a comfortable setting with comfortable teachers that I know who are just so amazing and have done such a great job in preparing me and every other student in the class for these exams. We were on, I believe, the College Board's National Honor Roll because of how highly we scored last year, and I just hope that AP classes are something that you don't consider cutting because it is truly so impactful for me and every other student that gets the privilege of taking them.
Kaylee. Brother? What AP classes?
Kaylee, did you say?
Will,
Sorry,
hold
Will.
on one sec. We have a comment from John Michelle first.
What AP classes did you take at the school?
Last year I took AP Gov, AP Bio, AP Statistics, AP Psych, and AP Lang, receiving 4 or 5s. Huh?
Language.
AP Lang.
Which
And-
language?
Just AP English language. And amazing work of our teachers. I received 4 5s and 1 4. And this year I'm taking
Well
AP
done.
Calc. Thank you. That's more to them than to me.
You took the test.
And I am this year taking AP Calc, AP Chem, and AP Lit. And I feel very prepared for these exams because of our wonderful teachers.
Well done, and congratulations on being a
Thank you.
Good, Will.
Will, yeah, Will.
Yeah, well, I just out of curiosity, you said you were thinking about taking up the electrical engineering?
Not quite.
No.
No.
Biological sciences, she said.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. No, it's great. You gotta get a great program too. So, fantastic. Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Kaylee, one,
Okay.
mine's unrelated to.
No, I thought we were done, so I was going to
Okay.
just thank
I
you.
just wanted to ask if you had heard any interest in the investment club discussed at the beginning.
Yeah, I haven't. I was fully prepared to send out a survey about like additional club interests, but then this all kind of happened. So now I've kind of geared my survey towards extracurricular impact, which I'll hopefully have prepared for you guys for the Tuesday meeting. But yeah, that was gonna be my way of really collecting data on it. But in my experience talking to my fellow students, I hadn't heard any interest. Sorry.
Not in the investment club. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you for your support.
We have others that want to make a comment? Any emails, comments? We're just gonna check our email comments.
Are
If we have-
done?
No, but
Our email address.
No, no
Okay.
comment.
So now that the public comment portion of the agenda is complete, we're going to move on to the budget discussion. This is a continuation of our budget discussion that we've been engaging in for the past couple of meetings. On our to-do list today is to discuss some of the budget cuts specifically related to personnel, which we have not fully discussed yet. But all the things that we've discussed before are open for discussion at this time. Jeff, do you want to start with giving us an update on where you're at with?
It's been a whirlwind this week. We put forth a proposal to the union. We thank them for their generous contribution to the fund, or that they're not requiring a contribution from the district for $85,000. That's great. We also have two areas in the contract that were still open for negotiation, and those related to clubs and sports. So we put out a proposal to them, which I can't really discuss. It would be inappropriate to do that because we're negotiating. So that's out there. We've been continuing to gather some more data and information. We have a lot of information the board requested, which we were able to get most of it, or much of it, which is in your packets. And I'm trying to think, there may still be some information outstanding, but we're getting close. We absolutely have to adopt a budget on Tuesday. The spending plan has to be adopted, and the property tax report card has to be adopted. Failure to do so would result in the district forfeiting its third Tuesday in May vote, and we would only have one day to vote, to be the third Tuesday in June, which would be the revote date. So we absolutely have to get to a decision as quickly as possible. And once the board reaches a decision, Mr. Kaufman has to do a lot of spreadsheet gymnastics to come up with the report card, the property tax report card, which has to be submitted within 24 hours of that adoption. So we've got our work cut out for us. We have a lot to do.
Before we start on new topics, Chris and I were working on a document. Chris, are you able to, you can hear me? Can you go through where I think we are with some of the old stuff and the number that we've come up with before we look at additional things tonight?
Yes, I can do that, Gary. So I passed this around to everybody. It's right there, Jeff. Everyone should have a copy of this. For the audience, it's $901,000 in savings.
Chris, please,
I'm sorry, Will?
it said, save me a copy of.
I can do that. I can send you an email with it. So the savings that Gary and I discussed is really to save as much program and staff as possible. So just going through this list, the TTA has come up with a number to cut back on supplies of $58,000. I'd like to kind of go through that. That seems to me like it's a straight, easy approval from the board. I think we should probably go through these one at a time.
Can I just interject? Because I'm happy, we've gone over these numbers and these ideas a lot, and I know we have a limited amount of time. I want to make sure that we at least touch on some of the new ideas first. So would it be possible for us to just quickly move over the things we've already talked about?
I'd love to go. This is the idea. The first one is a new idea, the supplies.
Yeah, okay.
That's a new.
Oh,
idea.
you're right. Yeah. I was looking at the welfare.
So I
Yeah.
added the other things that we've discussed
Okay.
before. So we could come to some sort of an agreement, so we could come to some sort of a number at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So then if we need to work to add more cuts or put things back in, that we can actually do that. So that's why I put this together. This is based off of what we talked about at the last meeting.
Yep.
Not anything else that I received today at all. I know there was another suggestion from the TTA on a plan. I have not gone through that fully, but this is based off of what the TTA gave me previously. So I wanted to just go through this list, and if we could come to some sort of agreement, we could kind of build a list of how much we can save. I mean, the TTA supplies and the welfare fund comes to $143,000. To me, I think that's a fantastic job that the TTA was able to actually find those savings for us. And I think that's something we should move forward with. Anyone?
I agree. I'm just taken back. Why is it not on this list? Why do we have? It's still kind of
This
trying
is
to
Jeff's
blend.
list. This is Chris's
Right.
list.
Should they be merged?
They should be merged, right?
Yeah, well, we gave a list, and the process began. And we've all been going through a series of discussions about it. Because we're getting close, I put a recommended list here today with all the new information we've got, plus the number, this is mostly old stuff that we've discussed.
Okay.
But we did get the retirement incentive, which we're gonna be approving shortly. We did find out, there were a couple of people that were retiring, so we updated that as well. So a couple of new items, but if you look on that, the old adjustment numbers are on there from the original
So we
sheet.
may not need to cut the same amount we originally thought because now we have the retirement numbers to figure in. So
I have
that's
that in.
Correct, so.
okay. They're figured in.
I have that in here from what Jeff and Walter gave me previously.
But this 58K from the supplies is not on Jeff's list. Is that right?
Things are very fluid.
Yes, but no, I'm just trying to I'm trying to understand. It's hard to work with multiple lists. So is it fair to say, Jeff, that the 58K in TTA supplies is not reflected on your list?
So let me make an accurate statement. It's not a TTA supplies, it's a school district supplies.
Okay,
It's not being donated.
fair.
It was that the principals asked the teachers to say, please look at your supplies and materials that the school provides you with every
Okay,
year.
so I was just
Let us
using
know
this
what
language.
could be
We
reduced.
can call it just supplies, but hold on. Is the supplies, are the 58K in supplies that are on this list reflected on this list or no? That's just
It
the
is not.
answer.
The answer is no.
Okay, so we can
We
potentially
have,
add the 58K in
we have-
supplies over to here.
it's here at 50,220.
Okay,
Teacher
Okay.
supplies and tax.
So yeah, so it would be very helpful if right now, as we go through your list, if we compare it to Jeff's list so that we can start merging, because we have to come to a decision by the end of today for something that we're moving forward with.
Just for clarity, all the teachers are given a certain amount that they can use for their supplies every year, right? It's not a donation from the TTA, as Jeff has indicated previously. It's them, what can they actually survive with at a minimum? And it's quite a bit of a sacrifice to be able to cut back on their supplies so they can limp through next year. So it is a tremendous savings that they afforded us for 1 year. And I think we should recognize.
Okay, so we have it on both lists. So
So what
check,
number
check.
would you like to use? Jeff's number or the number?
Well-
Makes no difference to me.
I have to defer to Jeff.
Why
because
do
it's
the numbers
superintendent.
differ?
I am not quite sure.
I can let you know if you'd like, I'm sorry.
Walter, that'd be great, thank you.
Yeah, so the numbers are different, there was one line, it was it was a BOCES line that's already been adjusted in the budget, it's not losing any service as far as for the BOCES service. And then there were 3 other lines in, they were special ed lines. That one is a little tricky to, I believe, to cut in, just because if we get new students that come in that actually need particular supplies, we won't have the amount there to give those particular students.
Okay, so we should adjust to the 50,000.
Yeah, 50, I would say
5220 is what you have.
2220, yes.
Okay.
Yep, and I just wanted to say that, this list, which is mostly drawn from prior items, and there were a few added things here, would reduce spending overall year to year to less than 1%. It would reduce the tax rate to 2.5, and it would reduce the reliance on fund balance to $380,000. So what we're trying to do is trying to balance everything. We'd like to have it eventually get to a structurally balanced budget where we're not relying on fund balance at all. And usually we do 500,000 a year. Last year, because we went into contingency, it was 690. So it'd be great to start whittling that down and get a balanced budget. And we don't have any definitive numbers from the community, or I don't think anyone on the board has a definitive target for a tax rate. So we're trying to be as we're trying to keep the tax rate as low as we possibly can, which is at 2.5. So spending is low, the tax rate low. As we said, the levy was going to be a bit high this year, and we're going to be over the tax cap. So we are going to need a supermajority. But these are the things we tried to balance when we, put this list of recommended reductions here. So.
Okay, so you wanna go to the next item?
Tell me how we wanna go even by, do we wanna approve each one, so we'll have a running list of what we have. But, so we have a running total, because by the end of tonight, we have to have a running total.
I think what we should do is just compare the list so that we can come up with one list and then go through the items to say whether we agree on them, because I can't function with two lists.
So now you know that the TPA supplies, we're agreeing to what Walter said, so can we move forward with that as one of our cuts, that we can start at the $50,000 as something we would save?
No, I just said I'd like to wait to the end. I mean, let's hear from how everyone wants to do it, but I'd like to wait to the end before we start saying which item we want to cut, but just get one list first and then go through each item and say which one we're going to cut. How do you feel?
I mean, I don't want to complicate things, but I'm done talking about trailers and things we've talked about 4 times, and I want to move on to the things on Jeff's list that we haven't talked about, because I think we need to air some of the new information so that we can make a decision.
Okay,
Well, the 85,000 from the welfare fund is on both.
great. So let's check that out.
So that one's done.
Where is
I,
that?
this is Gary. I do not want to talk about any new items until I have a running total of where we're at. If our running total is $2 million, we're done. If our running total is 500,000, we got a long way to go. I am unwilling and will not talk about any new items until somebody says from the board chart, not Jeff's chart, but from the board's chart, what is our current consensus running total? We don't need to go through every item. We need to know where we are right now so we know what else we need to talk about.
Sure.
Gary, I was under the impression that if it made it onto, we were looking for a little bit of clarity, and we did get some from the previous meeting. Some of that information has been shared with us from the admin, and we should have a pretty good idea of where we stand on the board's list thus far. So,
It's not just the
Chris,
board's
do you
list.
have a
So why don't we instead just do everything that appears on both lists and add them up, and start from there?
Something,
That's what I
there's
said.
nothing.
Yeah,
new.
okay,
That's what I
everything that appears on both lists. So Chris, do you want to keep a total?
I'm just checking. Sure. Just see which one.
So there's the supplies at 5220, 50,220. That's on both, right? There's the district contributions, freezing the district contributions, that's 85,000.
Yep.
There's the trailer for 14,000.
Yep.
The lawnmower for 6,000. And now we've got all these different sports.
Can we have Marco talk about the sports?
trips.
That's not on this. Field trips aren't over
Can,
here.
can we have Marco come up and talk about the what he came up with the sports, because we wanted to have him talk about it at the last meeting, but he wasn't here, he had an issue. So can he?
Yeah, that would be fine. Do you guys want to do that
mind
now?
If Marco,
And the stem swap?
Yeah.
Okay, Marco, come on up.
Questions? What would you like me to do, Chris?
You want to start with STEM or the sports?
I think the sports is probably the easier one. How did you come to this list of various cuts based off participation?
Based off participation, number one. Number two is to try to be fiscally responsible with our enrollment. We try to look at each season to see which sports we're probably running, and obviously there's a Title IX issue in terms of what you decide you're running, because you have to balance it out for boys and girls. You want to make sure the numbers are equitable. So for each season, we were looking at, obviously what are the big sports? Obviously, Michelle does a phenomenal job with the volleyball program, so obviously we want to keep those aspects of it. There's a drop in enrollment, we know that, I don't have to tell you that. So we want to look at what 2 levels would work best with volleyball. So we're offering varsity and modified. Obviously, if we have to pivot at some point based on who comes out and what numbers we get, we'll always do that. But if we offer those sports on the girls' side, we have to look at boys' sports on the other side of it. So modified soccer's in there, obviously, because we have to balance it off of a modified team for volleyball, so you have to balance that out. The boys' sports, you have cross country, so you have to balance that off as well. So you have to make sure the numbers are equitable for that season. Our modified sports in the other seasons are limited, so I felt that it was an important piece to offer. So we're looking to run intramurals in the winter and in the spring to balance a co-ed opportunity for both boys and girls. And since, you know, our modified basketball team, which is good, they do well, we can always do our modified program through intramurals. And since we have relationships with the Park School, Green Meadow, you know, some schools that are local, we can also do some competitions that way, so the kids would get that opportunity to compete. So I felt like intramurals would be good for those seasons. Same thing in the spring, which we're doing right now. We can do some programs in the spring, compete with the Park School, Green Meadow, things like that. And
Can you explain
again,
that a little bit more, just about how modified and intramurals are different and how?
it's different because your modified programs are interscholastic. So you're paying fees to participate in the league. There's also official fees. There's also transportation fees that we would have to incur if we were to do that stuff. So we're trying to pull back on that.
Okay, and what kind of impact would that have on the development of the athletes by switching from modified to intramural?
When you look at what we offer for modified to begin with, we haven't had the enrollment. And one of the things that, and I know Chris was at the rec meeting, and Bonnie was too, we talked about feeder programs that have to funnel into our programs. We're lacking in that aspect. So we have to start at some point, and we're jumping in with modified, and the kids aren't having those skills and backgrounds. So we have to actually start at a rec level at some point and start to build off that. So I felt that doing intramurals would help start that rec level, because we compete with our modified programs, and I think anyone can tell, we go to schools like Chester, Florida, and we're not competing with them. They're head and shoulders above us. So, you know, for us to go out there, have those kids play against those schools and have them lose by a large amount, it's kind of deflating to the kids. So I feel like we have to kind of start a reset. So that's why I feel intramurals will be good. They'll have a chance to develop skills, have some competition with the Park School and some other places that are right around our level. And I think that's the way to grow it and to get the interest. But again, I think getting back to the first piece, I think we have to have a feeder program built into that, which we don't have. So that's another piece that we have to work on too.
Good.
So if you had a student who was potentially interested in being on a varsity team and we don't offer one,
Right.
is there opportunity for them to play somewhere else?
100%. Yep. There is.
How would that work?
The way that would work is, and this is the tough part about it, the other school would have to have an opening for that. So we don't know that going in. So we could always look around to other schools. I'll give you an example. Last year, Chester came to me and said we were limited with the modified programs, the JV programs, and they needed players. So last year we brought, I think one boy played modified baseball with Chester, 2 girls played modified softball with Chester, 1 girl played JV softball with Chester because they had openings. You know, every year that goes on, I could always ask, and I reach out to all these ADs, and one of the things that helps is that at these meetings we talk about, you know, who needs this, who needs that, and we set these things up. So it really depends upon the other school, what they have openings for. So, but we can always look.
Yeah,
It's
I
always
just think it's important. Like, we do have a wide diversity of
Absolutely.
students' abilities,
Absolutely.
and just like we need to meet the needs of the kids who may not have much experience, we need to
Absolutely.
meet the high level kids who
Yeah.
can succeed and may be potentially looking to get a scholarship and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, the only thing again that holds us back is the other school's opportunity. A lot of times, if it's a varsity sport, let's just say, not that we have a person who's in varsity swimming, but let's say that the school wanted to take on our student. It would change their enrollment numbers for classification for a varsity sport. JV wouldn't be an issue. That's why Chester was okay with taking us last year. Modified, it's not an issue. But once you get into the varsity realm, the school has to be willing to change their classification numbers if it affects that. If it doesn't, they'll take them. And if there's an opportunity, they'll usually take them as well. But again, there's certain caveats to that that may prevent us from doing that. But the idea of it is great. The opportunity exists. We're all for it. So.
Anybody else have questions about sports?
Just keep in mind too, like when you look at the programs we're looking, everything's got to be balanced. Boys and girls have to have an equitable number of opportunities throughout the whole year. So it can't just be like it's not just season, but it's the whole year too. So let's just say in the fall, we offer the boys and girls soccer and volleyball, and let's say that soccer doesn't happen, and we go through the rest of the year, and we don't offer the boys, and there's an imbalance, that could be an issue as well too. So we have to always be kind of cognizant of that. So one of the things I look at too is, putting aside dollar amounts for each program, and if it doesn't run, we may have to pivot, but stay within that fiscal number to another sport or another opportunity for the kids.
And just to clarify, Marco, for people who are listening, that's in order that we may be compliant with the Title IX requirements of the
Correct.
federal government. So there's not wiggle room there. We have to be compliant with those.
Correct.
Can I ask a STEM question, or are we still?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna move on.
Before you go on, can you just, what are we cutting with the 2,400 briefly modified software?
Well, I don't think you should be cutting modified soccer because that could be a Title IX issue. So I don't know if that was changed. Initially, I didn't put that on there. So if you change that and made that cut, that might be an issue. We have to offer a boys sport in the fall if we're going to offer a girls sport in the fall.
Okay, so why don't we just read them so that we can be clear on what you're recommending, that aligns with what you were recommending. Where do I start here?
So Marco, replace varsity basketball with JV. Are you okay with that?
Well, we were already doing that anyway. So I always put it in there because you never know if a kid comes in and there's an opportunity to change, but we've been struggling for a couple of years now. So I think it's a better fit for us anyway.
Okay. And as Chris had mentioned, it's been fluid, so some of these things have been changing with more research.
Yeah.
How about both modified basketball teams and offer winter intramurals?
And like I said, we have some good relationships with some schools and running an extramural program. We play the park school stuff. Have a relationship, and I know Green Meadow works with us. There's also Saddle River Day School that also can create opportunities with. So there's opportunities for us to do at a rec level and also give some competition so the kids get experience with that too.
So you think this is okay to do?
I do. Plus, and this is another conversation too, when you talk about feeder programs, there's always an opportunity for someone to start a CYO program in their area. We have a church right near here, so it's not out of the realm of having that discussion with the rec. And I think I mentioned that when I was at the rec meeting as well.
Okay.
Just needs to be cut.
Yeah. So yes, that's what Marco was saying. And the modified soccer might have been on the original list, but we're changing that one.
Well, I think you should keep that.
Keep the program or keep the cut?
No, keep the program, because you have to offer a boys sport to counterbalance the offering of the girls sport. The modified
Haven't we sometimes allowed the girls and the boys to play on the same modified
Absolutely,
team?
and that actually
That solves that problem.
Yep. Well, it's not a problem, honestly. I mean, unless you want to cut the modified volleyball, which I don't think you do. You could offer one sport. The boys really can't play on the girls' team. We had one situation happen several years ago, but that was an extreme circumstance.
I thought the girls could play on the boys team,
They can.
and that gives the girls a fall sport.
Correct, but then you're looking at cutting a modified volleyball team, which I don't think you
And
should
that
do.
gives two sports to girls, and then the boys are
Well,
left out.
it doesn't give two sports. It just gives girls an opportunity outside of volleyball. So you look at numbers. That's what you gotta look at. You look at numbers. Let's say there's 10 girls that compete in modified volleyball, and you have 10 boys and 1 girl. It's just numbers, and the sport allows the numbers to be, given. So that's the way you look at it.
Did we have enough kids for modified soccer this
We
this
did.
year?
We did.
Okay.
We had 10. We played with a little short number, but it was actually equitable because I think. And Michelle, how many were on modified volleyball? 9. So it was roughly the same.
Okay, so the soccer is the boys' sport, the volleyball is the girls' sport.
Correct.
So we go through the list, and if you think there's something you want to put in lieu of the soccer, you'll let us know, right?
Yeah.
So the next one is replace flag football with JV softball. Is that something
Well, again,
you still?
I don't know if that's a conversation, but I mean, we have to offer a girls' sport.
Yep.
Because you're offering a boys' sport. So
Right.
you can always pivot one or the other based on interest. So if you just want to put in JV sport, and then we can determine what it is, because the compensation is the same.
So replace flag football with the JV sport.
Just say, or just JV sports for girls, and it can
JV
be
sports for
based
girls.
on interest. We can do softball or flag football. I personally think that flag football with lesser numbers, less cost for supplies, it may create an opportunity for the girls to compete, and it's an up and coming sport for girls.
So keep flag football.
I would keep that, yes.
Can I ask, how's it going so far with the flag football this year?
We had a couple interest meetings. We had some girls kind of losing that, so we're going to pivot and just start it up as an intramural team and see how that goes. So we're trying to pick 2 days a week to have the girls compete. Again, I think what set it back, and don't take this the wrong way, but I think putting a hold on sports and tabling it for one board meeting kind of slowed down the start of it. We couldn't advertise, we couldn't do stuff, so it kind of pulled back on that a little bit. So now after the fact, the girls that were kind of interested kind of lost interest. So I think that's just a process that happened.
So leave the flag football.
But it's only in here for $340. How are we running a sport for $340?
No, I don't think you're looking at the right one.
I'm not looking at the
That's what we
list.
had, Marco, might have been.
300. That was the adjustment, I think. That was the adjustment if we changed sports. That's all. That's what it was.
Oh, I see.
If you went from one to
So
the other,
What's the real number?
well, I guess
the
it
real
depends on who's
number
coaching, right?
would be if it's a JV sport. Let me just see this. It's roughly about 4,500.
And what's the delta? Or you're saying don't cut it, just leave that in.
Well,
You'll give us an
I think
alternative.
I think you have to offer a JV girls sport if you're going to offer a JV boys.
Sure. But could you, so we eliminated a $2,443 cut and now $340. Is it possible for you to give us a recommendation for other areas to go, or no, just pull them off the table?
What are we pulling off the table? I'm sorry.
So you had said, don't cut the modified soccer,
Correct.
and we had that as an elimination. So if
Correct.
there's something you would supplant that with, or,
Well,
right,
if you cut that, you have to offer another modified sport.
No, we're not cutting it. He's saying
All right,
we're,
so-
we're putting it back in.
so
Yeah.
that's not a cut, we just leave it at that?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the 243, well, the 340, same thing with the flag football and the JV sport. We're
Yeah,
gonna
I
take
thought that was
off.
just a difference in, because if you did softball, you're resetting the stipend, so
Okay.
it's gonna be less. As
So-
opposed to just keeping it on flag football.
So pull the 340 out of there.
So JV softball, 4,500.
Yeah.
So, just to clarify, because it's JV boys baseball,
Baseball.
2,000. It's half the cost.
Where's, I'm trying to find out where you're looking.
This is a div, Jeff.
I think what we're looking at is the difference
That's what he's
between,
This is this cut. Cut or
Can I look at what you guys are looking at?
JV. How does that do that?
Where are you reading that?
2094.
Jeff's list, it doesn't say
Replace
that.
varsity baseball with JV.
It just says replace.
yeah, that would stay the same.
So, but we're not cutting that because we need it.
This was the list
This is
that we were
just
reading off.
replacing something. That's what the difference would be.
Okay, so if we're
That's what
replacing,
it's savings now.
okay, so if we're replacing it, we would save the 340, but you're saying keep it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
How about,
You're looking at savings as opposed to what the cost
Yeah.
is.
Marco, what about replace varsity baseball with JV?
That, we've been running JV anyway,
So keep
So
that one?
Again, what we try to put in, and the same thing with volleyball, we try to put in for the varsity sport.
Yeah.
Because if, and I know Michelle and I talked about this, if somebody shows up and you're like, wow, we can compete now, we want to have that opportunity to do that. And again, if we don't, we just pivot to doing a JV.
Okay, so that's a good one then, 2094.
Yeah.
Okay, and how about reduce transportation athletic games by 5,000? I think we're able to reduce.
Yes,
games, right?
because I talked to the league, there's only a certain number of games we're required to do that are league games.
Yeah.
Non-league games, we can pull back on if we need to, and our transportation costs are significant.
Yeah.
To factor into, let's just say we have 10 away trips, excuse me, and then we drop down to, let's say 7, we're saving about $2,500.
Okay. Is there anything, so that exhausts this list, so we'll keep that, the 5,000. Is there anything else, it's been a couple of weeks or months since we last spoke about this, because we've been all over the place. Is there anything else that you think we should add to this, or just leave these two out, we're good to go?
No, just this.
The two being,
Did you want to see this?
We're
Okay.
gonna get to it.
I'm not looking at the same thing.
We're not voting. So, is there anything now that we've looked at that list, is there anything that was left off from the other list?
This right,
Yeah.
this one here,
Well,
6,162 stipends.
Yeah, that
Eliminate
was in-
JV volleyball.
Limited JV volleyball. Well, let him go through that first.
That's it, the JV program is running. The JV program.
Do you want to spend time doing this later? Since we're pretty much,
You good with it?
Yeah, just as long as the modified soccer or some modified boys sport.
And this,
And you can pivot to another sport, but if you want to just budget for that, I think that's the way to do it. You're not bound to say we have to do soccer, but just, I put that in as a placeholder.
Margo, there's one more thing on, it's stipend for eliminate JV volleyball. Is that something we should take off the?
Well, the last couple of years, and Michelle, you can chime in, last couple of years, we haven't really run a JV team.
We haven't had the numbers for it.
Right.
So this is a good one to remove
Yeah,
from the
because
budget?
I think, tactically, we can kind of spread the numbers across varsity and modified and still have a competitive, and a program that runs significantly. I think,
So these two that we just removed, we'll replace it with the 61, 62.
yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Walker back there, if you can adjust that, okay?
okay, so now we had some STEM questions, so let's move on to that.
Can I just
Yeah.
say something? Marco, a lot of people in the district have the mistaken belief that you're the STEM teacher.
Mhm.
They don't realize that you're the technology teacher, but you're the STEM advisor.
Correct.
So you teach technology classes here, but you're the advisor for the district-wide STEM program.
Correct.
And it's not just you at the secondary school and Ms. Klimowicz at the elementary school or the STEM program. You're not. The STEM program, it should be in every classroom.
Yeah, we have over 15 teachers that are within our certification process. Many of them are completed with them. So there's a concept with our program that can be implemented across the whole school, which is something we started at 10 years ago. And I believe Mr. Hebner, when he first got to this district, he was actually in a commercial that talked about the program. So I think the program wasn't just one area. It was about the school working together to employ concepts that can be applied to any content area.
And it's actually in the mission statement. I looked it up today just to kind of review. So if we do make any significant changes to STEM, we are not following our mission statement.
Yeah, and we have to make sure that everybody's certified in it, and we have to include it in when we're doing our Danielson APPR. Because of that, right? What is it? In the rubric, it's number 4, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, because that deals with the mission statement and all that. So that's something I think we can focus on. We'll put some more professional development into that if the board and the district decides they want to stay a STEM school. So that's another discussion. So, you have.
So does anyone
I
have
just
any
have
other
one question,
questions?
which is, so it's my understanding that we have to operate at least one club for the STEM certification to be maintained.
Yeah.
Is it one club? Would one club work? Does it have to be called the engineering club? Could it be called the robotics club? Anything like that? Just as long as it's compliant with the STEM
Correct.
mission?
It's just an outreach. It's an outreach that says that you're, as a school, you're looking to employ that concept in an extracurricular activity.
Okay.
That's all. So, and just so you know, I don't know if, and this goes with any club or any activity, if the club switches from one person to another, it resets back to a step. So let's just say I don't do engineering club next year.
Yep.
It resets back to step 1.
What if we were in a situation where we said, okay, you need to have 10 members to run a club?
Yeah.
And we offered the engineering club, and we had 7 kids turn up. Could we cancel the club and stay compliant with the recommendation, or would we essentially have to pay a no-show job?
I believe it's similar to Italian athletics. It's similar that you have to offer something. And again, if your enrollment numbers are dropping and you can't field or have enough people for the club, that's a conversation that I don't think they would hold you to. But
Okay.
you have to offer something to say, hey, listen, we're trying to make this work and we're trying to do
Okay.
something. And again, I think that's the biggest piece.
So as long as we set a reasonable number for kids and we didn't have the interest, we could pull back that club for the year and then try to generate interest again for the following year. Okay, thanks.
And you have to have a STEM advisor, right?
You have to have a lead that oversees the entire city. It's important because it keeps everything again, teacher certification, making sure skills and concepts are in there, and then being able to report back to the certification company and say, hey, we're doing X, Y, and Z.
So all the teachers who are STEM certified locally, could they step into that role?
If they know all the information that it entails and understand what the concepts are and how to manage everything, yeah, I don't see why not.
How much time did it take you to master all that?
Excellent question. My experience with the charter school kind of set me in a good place to be able to do that, because I understood the curriculum in terms of what was to be implemented and all that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that kind of set me in that, and not to say that no one else can do it, but there's a lot, and I think it's feasible for anyone to learn that. I do.
What do you think it takes to learn?
Depends on the person.
Yeah. Okay.
I have another question about just the engineering club. Going back to that, is there a certain minimum amount of hours that are required to?
Well, with all clubs, I believe it's 40 hours.
Right, which we created that, but could we change that? Could it be like a half year?
I can't say yes or no.
I mean, we could change it, but would it conflict with what the requirements are for maintaining a STEM certification?
I think going back to her question, I think if you offer it and you're able to run it for a certain time or do it for a certain time, I think you're fulfilling that extracurricular need that they're requesting. That's not a definite, but that's the way I see it.
Okay. Understand my question?
It's probably possible, but that may be an issue with the TTA collective bargaining.
Do you want to talk about
What?
that?
I'm sorry. What's the issue?
That's why I didn't want to
If we
answer
could
it.
cut if we could
That's what I
cut
was trying to
the
answer.
clubs and make them half year, and then that way we would save money that way.
So I can't discuss the proposals that are going back and forth that we're bargaining in bad faith. So we did make a recommendation or a proposal to the union, and we'll hear back from them. But I can't really discuss what the proposal was. But I do want to ask you one other thing, Marco. The STEM advisor, the stipend for that, is that in the collective bargaining agreement?
Yes, it is.
So it can't just be cut or eliminated.
Yeah, and just like I said before with a club, if there's a teacher that does it, step 7, and they get replaced with somebody else, the number goes down.
Right.
That makes a difference, in terms of how you budget.
In order to maintain the program, don't you have to have a STEM advisor?
Yeah,
So it's kind of required.
Yes,
And
exactly.
the amount is fixed, dependent upon the person's experience, but it is a fixed dollar amount in the contract, so we can't arbitrarily say,
Correct.
let's make it $1,000 or $2,000.
Correct.
You have to abide by CBA.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else that we have for Marco related to sports or STEM or any of that?
Well, good, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So going back to, we were doing like a side-by-side look so that we can make sure that we know that we haven't missed anything from the areas that the board wants.
Excuse me. Oh, sorry. But I was just gonna ask one more question about the sports if we're allowed to cut in.
Sure.
Just about the varsity sports, more like wrestling and cross country, what you see would be happening next year, because not a lot was being discussed about those two.
I don't think you're really, I can't
Well, I'm
really
sorry,
answer
say
that
would you say
question.
that again?
Sports that aren't on the list,
Yeah,
we
or
haven't talked about, does
yeah.
that mean that they're staying as is, that they're?
Yeah, this is just a list of reduction.
Okay, so sports like cross country, wrestling wouldn't be involved in any reductions being spoken about?
They weren't recommended to be
Okay.
reduced, yeah.
Okay.
So we took the budget that we already have and we're just carrying it over, and so everything is the same except for the things that were.
Okay, so there wouldn't be any limitations in, like, let's say meets or like as many tournaments as we could go to, or?
Well, there may be some paring back of some of the
And that's
number of
across the
events.
board. It's transportation costs that, have increased over the years to minimize those costs. Every not just one level of one sport, it's across the board.
Are we the only district doing that, Marco, or other districts paring back on the number of
Some
events?
are.
Yeah.
Some are, not a lot, but some are.
Okay.
The smaller schools.
Did it answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Okay. What else do we have? That one, I think through the field trips.
On Chris's list, numbers 19, 5, and 47 is what we're discussing with Jeff.
Yeah, the field trips, cutting that by half. You think we're good with that? Kmart?
Yeah, I don't think that was.
Yeah, it wasn't on ours, right, yeah, but it was something that, I guess was in one of the prior discussions, so that's something we can add to our list, 6,000 for cutting the field trips in half.
Okay.
And you think we could live with that, and it won't impact instruction adversely by doing that?
Yeah, I think it's certainly something for consideration.
Okay, is 6,000 the amount, or you wanna give it more? Well, we don't have a whole lot more time to think about it.
I think the number was $12,000.
We cut it,
Yeah.
Yeah, is that safe? You think you're okay to do it? Okay. So add 6,000 for field trips.
And then, Michelle, the next one was eliminating guest speakers for assemblies. That's on Chris's list, but, or on,
This one's more up for discussion, so I think Jeff came back with $1,500 after talking to Jared and to Jenna. I still think, I mean, we need to cut things, I think they should go. The whole number should go.
The guest speakers.
Yes.
So you already have it reduced, we already have, let's just put it on a question mark for consideration, because we might not have to cut it if everybody is in agreement with these other items on this list,
I don't
because,
think we're gonna get agreement.
okay, but if we are, this gets the tax rate down to 2.5%, which is very good. So,
Yeah, we're trying at all costs. Nothing in anything we're doing here is popular, and nobody here wants to do any of this stuff. But we've all experienced a contingency budget, and that's what we're on right now. And it's pretty damaging, and another one would be pretty devastating. So our hand is forced. We have to make some cuts, and there'll always be somebody that will be unhappy about that and say you should have cut this instead of that. But there's no villains here. It's just that we're trying to prioritize certain things, and we are where we are. So guest speakers, did we want to add that to this list?
What I wanted to do is to just put it on the list.
Yeah.
Let's build up a number. We can go back through the list, approve the whole thing, and if we have to change things, we can change them. But I'm just trying to get to today. I mean, our backs are against the wall. We have Monday night. We have to have a budget because we have to approve it on Tuesday.
Walter would be thrilled if you had it tonight.
And that I don't know that will happen. There's some things on the bottom of the list that are.
Yeah.
so what have we missed from this? Because we're getting through it. We have almost hit every
So we
item.
need the reduced public relations stipend to 5K, so basically cutting the public relations stipend by 2/3. That's another proposal on here.
Okay, but that was that your recommendation or not?
No,
Not
we
his
didn't put it on there because one of the keys to our future and our success is attracting the students from the development, and there's certain things we don't believe we should cut because we don't want to in any way harm future enrollment as well.
I think we're still doing newsletters. We are kind of putting some of the newsletters onto the admin staff to actually do. That we
Yeah.
hire- that we-
No, I'm not being critical, Chris. We did speak to some of the staff, and they felt that it would be difficult for one person to do all of these things. So again, I'm not being critical. We also have to think: is it functionally doable? And
So, I'm not sure if you answered that question. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're asking if one of the the other administrative assistants can do the newsletter instead of the social media.
It's on here. It's on. In addition to the social media aspect of it, you're also going to have the admins, GFB, GGM.
So you're shifting it over.
And shifting part of it over to be part of their responsibility.
Okay, so is that okay with all the civil service?
They've done.
well,
it's been
civil
done-
service, but the individual people may not
It's been done in the past.
want to do that.
So, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes here, Gary. I'm looking at the phone / you, because we can talk about the stipend, but when I'm looking at other items on this list that are way more important to me to maintain than the public relations stipend, and I'm feeling a little hamstrung that we can't say them out loud. So can we put it on the table at least, what we're talking about? Because I think there's some things that are important to air. Would that be okay? To look at Jeff's list and start to go through some of the new things? Like, I don't wanna step on your toes or or anybody's toes, but like, we're running up against the clock and we haven't talked about really big things.
Well, yeah, we're definitely getting there. Is everything on this list now transferred over, or is there more? And then after that, then we're gonna go through this list as a whole.
Everything's been transferred.
I just checked off the items that are.
Okay.
I guess the field trips, we just added.
Okay,
Okay, so that's been added. The guest speakers, we added to
Okay.
both, now they're in both lists. Reducing the public relations stipend is on this list, but not on the superintendent's administrative recommendation.
okay,
Okay, so that one's still outstanding. Another one is eliminating the JV volleyball, that's now on both, lists. I'm sorry?
PR one.
Oh.
The PR one, we can still discuss as a.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's not on your list.
But they're asking
we're
which
gonna have
ones.
this as a big list,
Yeah.
now that we've got everything on one piece of paper, now
Sure.
we're gonna go through item by item to
And then-
figure out what we all agree on,
Yep, and then
right?
the 11,800 is on this board list, but it's not on the
We can discuss.
admin list yet because we've been playing phone tag with BOCES. As I said, a number of the professional development is we are required to do, so I'm trying to get an accurate number. I'm gonna try to get the person over the weekend, verify that number. I think Jared's also been trying to get a hold of they're crazy busy now, it's their budget season as well. And then beyond that, the only two is the retirement attrition and then Mr. Kamar's position. That's, so the retirement attrition on the administration's list, we have, let me see what the difference is.
So you're recommending that we have 2 building administrators,
Yeah, I'm gonna, if
Two
you don't mind,
principals.
let me get to that real quick. I just wanna see the attrition, the retirement attrition, so the incentive, which is just about to add. So you have,
No, this isn't, I didn't make these numbers up. These are numbers that came from you and Walter. I took these from the previous sheet.
yeah, it doesn't mean they're inaccurate, it means that we've been updating things. Like you said before, things are fluid.
Okay.
So we're looking at different configurations, so,
So this number, this attrition number is based off of using the TTA plan that was initially shared on Sunday night.
So
Right,
there's-
not the TTA plan that came in today. I haven't had a chance to review that. It's a little bit more detailed. So it's basically, for the 2 that retire, the existing staff would basically be moved around and we would realize the entire savings for both of those people retiring.
so this is perfect timing to go
so
through.
the difference between the two lists is about $78,000 between, with the administrative list being $78,000 less. Okay,
Okay, so why don't we start talking about the departmental modifications, based on, starting with the retirement and what you're recommending for how we are gonna to fill in the gaps, because it sounds like there's a way to do it with minimal loss of,
There's no reduction in staff.
okay. But I see on this list, there's a lot of recommendations for reducing, so can we go through that?
sure. So the, we have a retiring tech teacher, so we were gonna reduce that position to a 0.5 through attrition. Okay, and then there was
Is that
a,
a new
What number is
hire?
that?
Are we proposing a new hire?
sorry,
Would that person be a new hire?
um,
0.5?
it could be, or it could be an existing person, but it would be a 0.5.
So did you,
So it's an existing full-time person that would be going to a 0.5?
It would be, we have different configurations for it. We haven't decided yet exactly how it's gonna lay out, but we have different configurations that we're considering.
so based off the TTA plan, wasn't that being backfilled, so it wouldn't be required to actually backfill or actually have to hire a 0.5 staff member?
Well, they said this may or may not, it's a 0.5 through attrition, but the savings that we've got calculated is 79, almost $80,000.
I think what the suggestion is that Jeff's saying is that rather than backfilling the entire tech position, you essentially cut the tech position by half so that you wouldn't move all of those, the TTA plan that moves people around would not move people into that 0.5 because the position would be cut from a 1.0 to a 0.5.
Or to, if they're multiply certified, we would use them in different functionalities, which in a small district like this, as I've said before to the staff, have as many certifications as you can in a district this size. In a larger district, they can have 8 periods of English teachers, or 9. We can't, we only have 2.
But if we eliminate it, through the retirement, right, we have now the tech positions are available. And if we can backfill them using existing staff, would that still result in this 0.5 cut that you're proposing?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. So we're reducing the position to a 0.5 because we're trying to make structural adjustments because our enrollment is so low. As we mentioned previously, our student to staff ratio is between 5 and 6 per students per teacher. So we've got to do some adjustment in our staffing. So whenever we can do this through attrition, that's the most humane way to do things. And what we tried to do here, to the extent we could, we tried to do specials as opposed to core teachers, 4 area teachers. So the high school tech, it's moving it back to a 0.5. And then there was another retirement, so that's another attrition, and we'll be recognizing $137,000 of savings. And we haven't definitively said it's going to go here or there. What we like to do is do the scheduling and see where the need is, and we'll move people and see what's where the best savings are, where the best utilization of people are.
Can I ask
for the kids?
Yeah. Can I ask about your recommendation 14C, cut elementary PE? Does that mean there would be no PE in the elementary school?
No, that means what we're going to do is we're going to double up in some of the classes. So we're trying to also increase the class sizes as well. So there will everything that we're going to do is going to meet or exceed the state requirements. So again, with the special, we're trying to keep the core content. We're trying to keep the IIS. We're trying to keep the UPK because we know that's.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand what this functionally looks like. So then you would get the $52,713 in savings by cutting the PE position down from a whatever it is to a lesser amount. And
Yeah,
then
I don't remember the FT. Do you remember, Jared, what the FT, would it be a 0.2 or a
1.6 to
a 1.6 to a 1.0? So you would be
Oh,
combining.
right, we're cutting the entire thing,
So
correct.
you cut the entire
Yep.
part-time teacher.
So you would essentially have like kindergarten and first grade doing PE together.
Right.
Second and
doubling
third grade.
classes
The
up.
numbers are so small.
Yeah, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, it may foster, more activities.
It doesn't allow you for a whole lot of flexibility, let's just say that, if you have a budget teacher.
Well, unfortunately, our financial condition is putting us in that predicament.
And then 15A, you just say elementary.
Specials, that's another special. We have, and again, that's through attrition as well. We have a retiree filling in a classroom. And so what we would do is we would take a teacher who's teaching a special, and we would not return the retiree, and we would backfill that position with a permanent teacher.
So this is what we've been talking about, where we would be eliminating the STEM special from the elementary, giving that time back to the classroom teachers. So then the specials would be PE, music, art, and library, or digital literacy.
And we confirmed tonight with Mr. Margada that that's not putting us at risk at all of jeopardizing our STEM status by not having
No.
a STEM special.
Because again, like I mentioned before, people mistake Mr. Margada and Ms. Klimowicz as the STEM program, and they're not. STEM is something that should be happening in the classrooms. So that's a special that when we can afford it, we had it. But the classroom teachers, K through 5 should be doing that actually throughout the entire school. But K through 5, they will be doing the STEM in the classroom. So we're not losing STEM, we just don't have a STEM special.
Okay. So then the next one I see is cut elementary music to 0.4.
Yes.
So what would that look like practically
Well, it would be a reduction in some of the electives.
for the elementary?
No, what we would do is we would work the two teachers' schedules to make sure that everybody's covered, and there are electives, but it won't be the palette of electives that we have now.
But the electives are the electives for middle schoolers, high schoolers, because are there elementary music electives at this time?
The elementary or was it Jared, you want to talk a little bit more about the electives at the elementary level?
If we made a reduction at that level, we would have to work with the music department to look at how best to support the program. That would go from 2.0 to a 1.4. So like with the PE, where we consolidate, for example, if you have third grade meetings separate, fourth grade meetings separate, you might combo there, and then that's one period. So you find ways that you can condense and consolidate. But obviously there would be some reduction, like the high school elective, and like the without having spoken with them, looking at probably the vocal lessons at GGM and fourth grade band. So there would be a reduction to consider there that would impact GGM, but they would get their general music special, not elective specials, some choral, some band. So we have to look at configuration there.
I guess I would have the same question for that as I did to the athletic director. How would that impact their preparation for future success?
Yeah, there would be no doubt impact there if you're starting to work. The districts have to debate the cost effectiveness when you're in a budget like this, where if you want to pare down as young as possible, you're instrumental, right? So the debate is always again, a little out of my lane. Thinking of the music band instruction, you want to go as low as you can, right? So the cost to us would be if you started band instruction.
When you say go as low as you can, you mean start as young as you can. Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing that we want to point out here is we've had meetings with the Tuxedo Park School, and we had discussed the idea of sharing some staff, and they're in need of a 0.5 music teacher. So we felt that the nice thing here is this individual would still have employment and right nearby. So again, we're trying to do everything as humanely as we possibly can, and we're trying to do those things which impact the students in their core classes, especially the most. It's not a great position to be in, but we're just trying to minimize the impact in the classrooms on the kids. So there would be some reduction in
Jeff,
music.
Go ahead, Will.
Was this plan, yeah, thank you guys. Was this included in the teacher's proposal?
You mean the thing that?
I'm just kidding. Yeah, at the bottom that we got from their union, there was in the proposals, I believe some of this may have been covered, I'm not sure. It's tough to see where, their proposals versus your proposals and how it stacks up.
Well,
against
it's a recommendation, I guess, that they're making to you. But I haven't had a chance to
right.
to look at it yet. Well, my goal was to get all the answers that you folks had requested of us, and try to get you an administrative recommendation for a budget, which is the norm, the typical way this is done.
If I can make just a couple of, I'm sorry, Will,
I understand.
just a couple of general.
I just want to make sure we're not talking about things that are redundant.
Okay, go ahead, Bonnie.
Okay.
Thank you, Bonnie.
All right, just a couple of things, and we recognized this at the last meeting. We have not been very successful in attracting people to work for 0.4, 0.5 kind of jobs. Sometimes we get them, but before the time starts, they find a full-time job. I haven't had a lot of time to look at the teacher's last proposal, but I did look at it some. I would like to have, before we do any of this, I would like to have a full time to analyze that, because I know that, I think it was very creative, and I think that, just to your point before, in a small district, it behooves people to be certified in many different areas, and we do have a lot of people on staff who are. And if we can backfill positions, keep people whole, but they're not doing math all day, but they're doing something else for part of the day. To me, that keeps the school on a steady pace. We know the people, they've committed to being here, and we don't have to rely on trying to find a 0.4 music teacher or a 0.5 technology teacher that often might not pan out, and then come the end of August, we're scrambling. So I think that's the magic of what they proposed. It's less disruptive. People we already know and know our kids well, and we don't get it. I think some of what you have here probably lends itself to what I've looked at, but I haven't looked at it as carefully as I would like to.
Sure. And, you know, we won't know fully.
Bonnie? Oh, sorry.
Just a second.
Until we, obviously, we have to do the schedule. And remember, in this case, Bonnie, this individual who would be impacted, we're working with TPS, which is something that members of the board, committees of the board suggested that we should do, given both of our relative sizes. So this is like a hand in the glove situation where this individual would be able to work over at the TPS, which is right around the corner, still have a job, and be working in 2 different places. So I think that works nicely. And the other thing is, it's nice to get proposals, but we have to be mindful, just like when, I mean, this is certainly nowhere near that extreme, but like 10 years ago, when Greenwood Lake left, nobody wanted to make cuts then either, but you had to. There was no choice. You had to.
Yeah, but Jeff,
If I could just finish, you had to make cuts, and this we're in a similar situation right now. Like, if the budget fails again, we're not going to be in a good place. So it's nice to have full employment and to make sure that everybody we have is fully employed. I just don't know that, you know, it's always a realistic goal. We want to do that, we'd like to do that, but it may not be a realistic goal. Now, the thing is, with the enrollment projections, we need an updated enrollment, a demographic study. The last one we had, like it's been mentioned, Bronwood mentioned it, all across the state and the country, enrollments are down. All right, and ours is no different. And we were supposed to have at this juncture, the first was 243, the second estimate was 203, we're at 173. So it's hard to say where we're going to be next year. We need to get the demographic study done. But if the trend keeps going down, and if we don't get as many folks as quickly as we can from the new development, you know, we've got to do some adjustment to our staffing. And as I showed you before, no one wants to do it, but our student to staff ratio is 5 and 6 to 1, which is really a special ed school district. It's not even a platinum school district. Those are like 12 to 16, I should say, or 15 to 16 students per teacher. So, you know, the stats are way off. So that's the rationale. Okay.
So Jeff.
Gary had a question first, and then.
I have a question. Yeah, I'm confused because I've been only around for 10 years, and in 10 years, nobody ever said, we have too many teachers. I don't care about Greenwood Lake. I don't care about this year. I'm talking for the last 10 years. Nobody has ever said, we have too many teachers. If we cut teachers, we're cutting music, we're cutting tech, we're cutting classes, we're cutting programs. And I wanted to piggyback this to what Bonnie said, because I agree with her. If there's some way we can get these teachers to say, hey, we're cutting you from 1.0 to 0.8, or 0.8 to 0.6, or to 5, or to 0.4, whatever we're cutting, do you promise to stay here? Because we have had zero luck with finding people to work these part-time positions. Even when we do find somebody, I don't think they're being honest with us, because we'll hire them in July at 0.6, and then on August 30th, they tell us, I found a full-time job, sorry, we're gone. So my two concerns are one, why all of a sudden do we have too many teachers? Two, what's the feasibility of filling these positions? Because if we do not, three, we're cutting music, we're cutting classes, we're cutting program, which is exactly what we said we would do last. And we have ways to reach our multiple target numbers without cutting programs.
Exactly, Gary, thank you.
Well, the enrollments have been dropping. We're on a contingency, and we're trying to avert another contingency, because if we're on another contingency, we'll be cutting a lot more than this. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. So the enrollment isn't meeting what the projections have been put out as. That's a reality. And the number of staff to students is what it is. So I don't know what to tell you, Gary. These are the realities that we're facing right now. If it came upon you, you feel suddenly, you know, I can't help that, but we are in a contingent budget, and I'm trying to avert at all costs going into this again, because I don't want to be sitting around this table between June 19th and June 30th saying, okay, how many more teachers are we going to cut? We're trying to limit the damage.
So Jeff, if I understand this correctly, what's being
Hold-
proposed, sorry,
Sorry.
Gary,
Yeah.
you wanna go?
can I just ask a clarifying
Ron was
question, and
gonna ask you a
Gary,
question,
maybe it
yeah.
will, get to what you're gonna say too. What I'm seeing on this sheet are really two proposed cuts in instructional positions. One is cutting one elementary music position from a 1 to a 0.4, with the understanding that there seems to be a reasonably good opportunity for that person to maintain full employment through two basically part-time jobs, one with TPS, one here. So that's the one. And the other cut that I see, Jeff, so correct me if I'm wrong, is that not replacing the technology teacher with a 1.0, but replacing them with a 0.5. And those are the only cuts that I'm seeing to teaching positions, because the other ones are going through attrition and are just not being replaced. Is that correct?
No.
Oh, and the PE, sorry. And also
Right.
we're
I'm
cutting
sorry, yeah,
PE
you're
from,
right, you're right. Yeah.
we're cutting a 0.6 PE person. So
Yeah.
we're cutting 0.6 away from music, 0.6 away from PE, and 0.5 away from technology.
Right.
And those are the cuts.
And the
We're not
that's
there
how
yet.
the teacher went through, yeah.
So we're only, just to be clear, we're only cutting 3 programs, even though we have a proposal that cuts 0 programs.
Right, that's the other proposal.
That's the part I'm confused about. So we're shooting, right, so the proposal, no cuts of program, a proposal of 3, that's my point.
Was there a
I
dollar?
don't want to cut any program. I'm not convinced that we have to financially yet.
Was there a dollar amount put on that proposal? I don't know. Anyway, like I said,
What do you mean, is there a dollar amount?
How much would this,
how much
would
would
the,
it
the
save?
TTA,
I didn't.
no, this
No,
one,
the other one, the one.
Which one?
the one that was
proposal we
sent today.
got yesterday or today?
I didn't, today one I have not digested.
And neither have I. And
The
what I'm
numbers
asking
are
is there a
similar.
dollar amount?
But
Yeah,
the
if the
one-
numbers are similar, it wouldn't make sense. Gary's point is correct, right? If the numbers are similar.
Right.
If it's going to save the same amount of money, then why would we cut programs?
Do one over the other. I don't know what the dollar amount is. I haven't seen it yet.
So there is no dollar amount. Basically, the first plan that was sent out on Sunday night basically is you're replacing with existing staff and 2 retirees. We realize all of those savings. So there's no cut at all.
Isn't that also, aren't both the full retirees recognized here, or are they not?
Yeah.
So this is in addition. So
Right.
Jeff's plan is the 2 retirees plus, although I can't understand the difference between the one list, the one chart gives a number of 295, 146, and then Jeff's chart gives the numbers 137, 146, and 79, 459. Is that because it's,
Because you're putting the 0.5 back in, so you're putting that 79,000 back into the number.
okay, so if you multiplied 79,000 by 2 and then added the 137, you'd get to your 295?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the 295, again, I didn't, that's not my number, that's a number that from the previous sheet from the previous meeting that Walter had put, I guess Walter and.
Yeah, but again, like you mentioned, it's fluid, yeah.
I understand that. But, I mean,
So
what I wanted to say before, Jeff, is that we're all collaboratively trying to work together.
Mhm.
The board, the superintendent, the teachers, everyone's trying to make an effort. And the fact that they've given two things so far, they've tried to help cut down on the supplies that they need, and for the welfare fund for the district to not have to contribute to it, why would we not want to review a suggestion that they might have?
I didn't say I didn't want to review it.
But you haven't.
Well, I haven't yet, because we've had a series of other things we've been working on. I mean, you know, if we were going down a road, you had a lot of questions, each of you. Plus, we had put together a proposal for the clubs and sports, where we're doing a number of things. So again, like you mentioned the other night, at 10:30 on Sunday night, why didn't I look at the email? I was sleeping. So if I just got that today, I need to digest it.
Did you digest the one from Monday, Sunday night?
From Sunday night, we did look at the one from Sunday night, yeah. It's a different configuration that we have, but again, we already had considered the breakage from those, so it wasn't news to us. It was just a different configuration that we had.
Is it a possibility that would work? Because that would yield.
Well, you could
additional
make a lot of
savings.
things work, yeah, you could. Okay,
Because we do want to try to keep program intact as much as possible, right? We do have, the reserve is on the horizon, we want to be able to keep things as much, looking as good as it possibly can without cutting back on
of
staff.
course, absolutely, that's the business we're in. We don't want to cut education, we want to promote education.
Right.
All I'm trying to do is avert a serious crisis, right? And so this may not be popular, again, but you have to understand what we're trying to accomplish. We don't
I
want
fully
to wind up
understand what we're trying
in
to accomplish.
$1.9 million of cuts.
This is why I have my list prepared when I came in today. I have,
Yep, I think we're all on the same page, and I think everybody's got the same goal. We may disagree on how to get there, but we all have the same thing, and I will look at that one as well. But in the meantime, I haven't. So,
I think at this point it's probably pretty urgent. I know it's Friday, but you really need to take a look at it, because by Monday we have to come to some conclusion.
that's right. So, other questions about those
And,
items?
yeah, I think I want to add that we all agree, we're all worried about the same thing, but the board's priorities was programs. The teachers gave us 3 proposals. One were pretty straightforward, agreeing to work with less and agreeing to cut benefits for a year. Their third proposal doesn't help them, it helps us. Our goal is to save the program. Their proposal, which is why everybody needs to look at it tomorrow in depth, saves all programs at cost to the teachers. Teachers are going to be running around doing crazy stuff for a year, not because it's better for them. It is not better for them. They've done this proposal because we asked them, is there a way to have no cuts in programs without any additional cost? That's why everybody has to look at that over the weekend.
Yeah, well, Gary, I hope you're not suggesting that the administration doesn't have the same goal that you do, which is to preserving program and preserving the school, because that's furthest from the case. We're trying to do the same thing. And we'll look at it.
If you
We'll
don't,
look at it.
I didn't mean, if you thought I said that, I did not.
Okay.
I think everybody has good intentions and our goals are the same. But I'm just reminding the elected board members who, and the one party we left out when someone a few minutes ago spoke about everybody who's working together, I would also mention the public, especially those people who have come to board meetings with specific proposals. Nobody has ever come to me and said, I think you should cut this. Not one person in this district has ever proposed a cut to me directly or to any other board member, as far as I know. But we do have to figure out when they say, this is too important to cut. So if we can have no cuts in program, we all win.
Agreed. So let's take a look at it.
I believe the first one, it was just basically backfill for those retirees with existing staff. I believe the second proposal off the top of my head had additional savings included in there as well. It was a little bit more, complicated as far as the rearrangement of schedule. So I think it would be a good idea that we all do our due diligence to review it, just to see if it.
Well, yeah, it would have been great if maybe we had a meeting internally to go over it as opposed to getting it like this, but, you know, it is what it is, and we'll take a look at it.
I think we need to address some of the other, have a conversation about some of the other items on your recommendations. About reducing the guidance counselor position.
Yeah, we're trying to avoid poor content areas. And when we looked at the recommendation from the National Guidance Counselor Association, they have a 250 to 1 ideal with a 350 recognizing it's the common model, and we have 173. So doing the math, we came up with a 0.6. So that was the rationale for that. And again, none of these things are popular. It's not that we want to cut people or cut programs, but we're trying to reduce the core areas with the program. So that's the rationale for that one.
Any comments or questions?
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Will.
Yep. Moving on. I'm not in favor. Moving on.
I mean, every student to employee balance is small here. Why are we picking one employee to bear the brunt of that? We have 1 to 6 in teachers.
Well, there's a number
We
of
are going to get more kids, and if we think we don't need support services for the students that are presently here, not even the ones that we're going to get, I think we are not looking at things from the right perspective. I think that students today need all the support they can get. This is all we talk about in committees, the wellness committee, and cutting somebody who's the backbone of this school and having that person less available, to me, would be a big mistake.
But isn't a big rationale for the cut that currently the person is engaged in scheduling? Can we talk about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I add something before we move to scheduling?
Sure.
On the same person?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was just gonna say,
Remember, Gary was talking about the position.
yes, and I thought we were talking about generally that I thought we needed more guidance support in the elementary school. Like I thought the last couple of months we talked about, we didn't have enough guidance support in the district.
It was just having the person deployed between the high school and the elementary school. That's all, Gary.
So you're saying, sorry.
Right.
So you're saying the position does not need to be full-time, and that a person in that position would be able to cover both schools and not be full-time?
We believe so, yeah.
I take issue with that, Jeff.
Okay.
I don't think you'll be able to attract a 25-year person with the amount of intricate institutional knowledge at a 0.6. I think if I divided 177 by the 250 number, which is what we considered standard for the industry, I came up with a 0.7. And we can't just go around comparing, every single last position to the amount of kids in the high school or the elementary school. Because if we do that, we can start going down a really, a very difficult road. So I think when we have talent in place, especially being that it's so close to full time, we should be able to give this one a pass. That's my.
Well, we could do that for every one of the cuts, but at some point we have to come up with a palatable number for the community. And again, the goal here was to limit core content areas that affect kids the most, and that's why all the reductions you see here are the ones that are recommended. The extent that we're able to do it, we try to do it through attrition. We did offer a retirement incentive. Unfortunately, we only got 2 of the 4 eligible people to take it. And that's, fine, that's people's choices, but, we're trying to do everything as humanistically as we can, and when we can't, then we have to make other adjustments, which is what we recommended. Again, none of this is positive. Nobody loves any of this stuff. None of us got into this business to do this.
I appreciate the recommendation. I, for one, think that there are other things that maybe we haven't investigated further.
Sure.
So I would like to continue to move through the list.
And
we can talk about some of those before we get to the bottom of the list.
And again, we're looking at the ratios also, student to teacher. We're doing this across the board.
Are we doing that across the board with the top admin though? That's something that I think we had never really kind of nailed down, which is, I think one of the issues that was that we have a small school, and we've got 3 big admin positions that are all relatively high paid, right? We've got a superintendent and 2 principals. We have a point, we're at a moment, and I see that you have a recommendation to do essentially cutting time, but replicating the same structure. But is this an opportunity to think more broadly about restructuring our administration? Because those are highly compensated positions. Are there savings there that we can realize? So I throw that out there, right? I see 2 proposals, one on the one list that is combining 2 of the positions, another on the other list is having 2 10-month building administrators. I don't think the 10-month building administrators, that's not a long-term plan, right? You ultimately are going to need full-time principals at some point. So that's a Band-Aid, which might be fine, right? Sometimes a Band-Aid might be the right solution, but it is a Band-Aid, and is it time to think more structurally? And I'm not saying I know what that structural change would look like, but that's a big pot of money.
So one of the things that the board's asked us to look at, and one of the things that we took our time this week as well, is we wanted to meet with the architect to discuss combining the buildings if we want. Because as the attorney had said to you, by law, every building needs a principal unless you get a special waiver, which he said, I think he said it wouldn't be timely enough at this juncture. But so we talked to the architect, could we put it all in one building and maybe have a principal and an assistant principal at a lower rate? And the architect is, the administrator met with him, and he said that first off, it's not doable in the time frame, because there's got to be some retrofit done to this building, and we would need to get state approval. We'd also need to probably talk to the state as whether they would be okay with combining the secondary and the elementary school. So we would have to put the plans up to the state. We would have to do bidding for some of the work that would have to be done. The classroom sizes in this building are not, the code for elementary versus secondary is different. The toiletry is different as well. So there'd have to be some retrofit that we would have to do. And the earliest we could do it would be, I'd say, probably a year from now. He's going to provide a memo to you about that, but he said that really the savings that you get would be so much heating, because you have to keep the heat over there at least to 55. We already have a problem doing that. You have to keep some lighting on. Remember, you've got the gymnasium over there, which is where all the kids use for PE class. So we'd have to move all the kids. It's easier for high school kids to make them, go across the lot to the gymnasium, but it's going to be more difficult for the younger kids. So it's very difficult, and he doesn't believe we're going to delve into it deeper, but we don't have the amount of time the constraints that we have. We'll delve into it deeper, but we're not gonna be able to combine the buildings this year. So we have to have a principal in each location.
Would an assistant principal count? Could you have a K-12 principal sit in GGM and an assistant principal sit in GFB?
Well, remember, the attorney advised that each building has to have a principal unless there's a waiver.
And
he
it
can
was a
talk-
principal, it was, they have
Yeah,
to have
that's
the
correct.
title.
That's right,
principal.
that's right. Yep. So,
Can we, I don't mean to cut you guys off, but can we get through the rest of the list and then double back here? Because I think this is an important point that really needs to be hammered out a little bit further. So I'd like to kind of get moving through the rest of the lists here, so we kind of get an idea of how
I
much
think
money
that's
we're
it,
saving.
Well, we
Well,
did.
that's it, that's the end of the list.
Yeah.
That was the last one on the list, was the admin.
Actually, there is a question on the data analyst, which.
Okay,
if
thank you.
happen to, if you happen to have a plan, I had sent an email earlier in the week, come up with a plan on how you were gonna redistribute the workload and the savings I had from the previous sheet, as we've discussed 10 times tonight, is fluid, but I had $105,000.
Yep.
Is there a plan on how that would work, and if there would be
Yep.
any sort of an impact?
yeah, I think we can hit that savings. I did speak to, I finally got a hold of the Civil Service Department. And we could, work something out with existing staff. Or there's also a possibility we could get an outside person to help with that role. So we have a couple of different, configurations, but I think the 105,000 would be a real saving.
So we can use this number, and your plan can come.
Yeah.
Good, right, we talked about
Okay,
everything?
so, no, not really. I would like to go back and double back at, taking a look at the administrative structure. I have a very hard time, especially being in my constituency, is retirees, people on fixed income. And, we've been talking and hammering, I didn't really want to go here, but, looking at the, 77 kids in the high school, I have a very hard time selling any kind of a full-time employee to these folks, especially if it's at $100,000 a year. So, the superintendent in this school district has had, a pupil student services, or excuse me, pupil personal services model before. And the cost savings here would absolutely capture a lot more of Jared's salary. So I'm a little upset the fact that I'm listening to, the possibility that the teachers could be, losing, 0.2 year. We're looking at maybe going for a 0.6 there, when we haven't really looked at the largest part of our budget, or at least the personnel, and that's the top. So we're top heavy. So Jeff, I'd like you to seriously consider, what might be done to bring you into the fold as a principal for the high school.
Or
Because
the
that could
or the
save us a
elementary.
tremendous amount.
Why not? Why?
You have to move his office.
Move his
So
office,
what?
that's not- So what if, yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't matter, it's a combined role, whether it's combined superintendent GFB principal or superintendent GGM principal, right? Well, his office could be,
It doesn't
Right.
matter, it doesn't matter.
yeah, right, it
You
could
would
be
be
either.
the principal in
It's
the
been.
school,
Yeah.
and you would hire a principal from the elementary school, and depending on whom or how you did that, you would obviously need, to have some sort of, administrative augmentation, because you can't do every single, evaluation. Parents are gonna need to be, consulted regularly, so, you would absolutely need some help. But, to wear the title of principal as well as superintendent, I think is a doable model.
Okay.
Not to mention, you probably $50,000 or $60,000.
I'm sorry?
Will, can you repeat the
I
last thing
think
you
you'd
said?
probably save $50,000 or $60,000 doing it.
So.
So it's more of a question than it is anything else. So,
Right, the question's been brought up before. the recommendations that you have given us don't include that as one of your recommendations. Does that mean that you don't want to do that, or have you considered that?
I didn't think it was the best solution.
Can you talk about that?
There are certain things I'd rather talk about in executive session.
All right, so can we go have that executive session? Because I think this is important that we figure this out.
Okay. I mean, this is a huge, I mean, we should
Absolutely.
go into
Yeah.
executive session. It is a huge number. to
Okay.
Consider from a budget perspective. And
Before we add that up and go into executive, before we go into executive session, can we add up our list of where we are? Like, can we go through the exercise you wanted to go through initially? Because Jean-Michel, I know, has to leave in about 10 minutes, so can we just see where we are before that happens, and then we can go into executive session? Do you wanna lead it?
I don't know which list to go off of.
I don't think it matters. Well,
I
one
think Susan
person.
had it- she had combined.
Susan,
At
do you
this
wanna do
juncture,
it?
they're
Yeah,
pretty much the
Jeff
same,
has it,
except
yeah.
for a couple
So you
of.
just wanna call it out and I can add the number, and we'll just all do it in public.
Walter, I think Walter can do it.
Okay, Walter.
You don't mean to put you on the spot, sir.
No, you're
But,
good.
Walter,
I
if
think
you
I
want,
heard
I have,
most of it,
I have
but-
this sheet. You want this?
Yeah, just give me that, I can do it.
Sure.
But
And you added in, Jeff, the three, but it's only the things that we've agreed to, so maybe we should go quickly so that Walter knows what to add, right? So we want Walter to add 2B,
Yes.
the
Yes,
data
wait,
analyst
let's just
position.
make sure everyone's, yes.
The keeping the cleaner position vacant. You want him to add that, right? It's 3.
Yes.
I'm going off Jeff's list. 3. 4, the lawnmower purchase. 5, the trailer purchase. Go 6. Sorry.
Just Will or Gary, if you want to chime in, if you don't agree with any of this, just say something.
6B, the replacing varsity basketball.
So far, you.
I'm just going through things that we've already talked about. 6C, the cutting modified baseball teams and offering winter intramurals. 6F, replacing varsity baseball with JV. 7, reduce transportation to athletic games. 8, no, we're not agreed on that. 13, no, we're not agreed on that. Not agreed on that. Not agreed on.
I think you have to go back to this list too.
Yeah, I will.
15A.
I don't think we've agreed on that.
We haven't?
The cutting the elementary specials. Actually, I think we have
Yeah,
agreed on that.
STEM
Right, the
and-
STEM special. No, we haven't agreed on the STEM special going.
It's not 15A.
Okay. All right. So then down to teacher supplies and texts. That doesn't have a number. Freezing district contribution to union welfare fund. Then we're adding to this list that's not on here. Eliminating JV volleyball for 6162. Cutting the field trips for 6,000. Cutting assemblies for 5,000. And I guess we're not agreed on public relations. So those are the things that we've agreed. So Jeff or Walter, can you table those? No, this one we're not. It's only the ones with the pluses.
Chris, how many of those items are not on the board's list of suggestions?
How many of the items are not on the board's list?
I think they all
Yeah.
are.
I think they all are.
Did you add
Okay.
savings from the 2 teachers you just provided?
Basically, everything that was
No,
taken
because we
off was
haven't decided how to
anything that has to
structure
do with
that.
instructional
This is just
staff.
things we totally agreed on.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
At the end, I lost track of the rest.
Sure, so I
You do
said-
teacher supplies.
And public relations.
I did teacher supplies, freezing district contribution, and eliminating non-required. So basically, I jumped from,
19 you can include also, you just can't include 18 because we're still talking.
okay. All right, so we're gonna add 19.
Oh, I'm sorry.
19 we would agree on, but we're still not agreeing on 18.
So what I did not include, Chris, or anybody looking at the list, was 1, 8B, 13B, 14C, 15A, or 18. Those I left off the list. And also I left off the public relations as things we were not agreed on. Does that make sense?
We don't necessarily agree on what the savings are.
For 18, I thought we did agree on that.
Did we? Everyone's
I
okay
thought,
with
no,
18?
he's saying no. I thought.
Oh, I
we
thought you
did.
said you wanted to add 18
I
back
wanna
on.
add 19.
Yeah, the 19, yeah, sorry,
Add
19, yeah.
Oh.
18 is, I don't agree with the cut, and I don't agree with the.
Okay, so 18 is on, or it's not on, I should say 19 is on.
So the add.
So I can,
What is 18 and 19?
18 is the reduce high school tech teacher to 0.5, and 19 is the reduce the high school teacher through attrition.
When you add 18 and 19 on the board list, you get to 295, 146, Gary.
Say, you just say it again, you just went fast there, I was following.
So 18 and 19, if you combine.
Just say it again.
So the list that we had for the retirement attrition for the two teachers would have been $295,146,000. That was on the board list. Of which we are, we are taking 19, we're still discussing 18. So we're taking 137 of the 295, and we agree on that.
Follow, I got that. Yeah, okay. And somebody said about 5 minutes ago that not filling the principal position is one of the would be one of the largest savings.
No, we're not.
It's the second, it would be the second largest savings, yes.
I'm confused about what's bigger. I thought it was the bigger.
The two retirees.
Oh, I count that as two. Okay, I count that as like,
If you separate them, yes.
150 and 150.
So then if you want, yes, the combination of principal and superintendent would be the highest savings, yes.
Got it, okay.
Did you give us a number, right? Or just Chris,
Yeah, I
is that what breaks?
double check. Right now I
What I
have,
told Walter was the pluses usually
341.
go too. So we're all right.
557. I just double check to make sure everything's in here.
So the number went from the 942, 860 to 341 and 557.
There's things on Jeff's list.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking. Is that
I would say
is that
it's
correct?
definitely probably close, yes, because
So no.
you're two large numbers off.
So what's the difference between those two sums? Can you do that for me? Because that's the amount of money we have to put back.
So I just want to double check mine though, but the difference between those.
Right.
613, 303.
So we have to find in 613, 303 now. If we were to not include those.
And then some things have been included, so the total number of 9, what was it, originally 94 something, it's 954 now, 860, but I just changed that list by adding some of those things in there.
Okay.
Like the debt speaker.
No.
Do we have a place to move into executive session?
Let's go by my check, my plus one.
Just go.
Do we have a place to move into executive session?
Yes, we can go to
We have to go by the check, the X.
And then I have to bring the laptop upstairs because they're both on the meeting, so.
Okay. Are you able to do that into
That was
the
on.
principal's
Yeah, that
office?
was on.
Did you?
Paired laptops.
Oh, sorry, I think Walter missed one. What's the number on here for the 105? Yeah, 2B. 2B should be on here too. I think that gets us up to 4 something.
Yeah.
Okay.
That we're at 446.
Yeah, 446.
So 508 is the difference.
Okay.
303.
All right. So are we all on the same page now that we're ready to? Sorry.
Let's see, I want to
What?
get timers.
613,
That was the difference between before they made their adjustment, whatever that adjustment was. That. Yeah. So that was replaced by 508.
That's the difference.
Yeah. You guys good?
He's just double
Just
checking
wanna
his
double
numbers.
check, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's,
632.
all right, so I think I have, it's 496,777
Four
total.
96. Okay, guys, we got a new number. Press,
Sorry.
guys over there.
Yes.
496,777, and the difference would be 458,083.
One more time.
Sure. The difference, or you want the total?
I want the total number, then the difference.
Sure. Total number is 496,777. Difference 958,083. Or sorry, 458. Yeah.
I was looking
I was looking at the previous one. Sorry.
58,
08.
083.
what difference is there? Yeah, 18. That's I think it's really that core.
And why do we need to go into exec? What
So
are we
we're
talking
gonna-
about this exec, what, exec board?
Negotiating with Jeff to
Usually,
see if he's
four
interested in
people.
changing his job.
It's a-
So at this time, we're going to, I need a motion to move into executive session.
So,
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. So Do I have a motion to return from executive session?
Move.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Heard Will, Gary?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, so before we left for executive session, we did not do number 3 on the consent agenda, personnel. So we're gonna be returning to that to do the approval of the supplemental memorandum of agreement. So can I have a motion, right?
Yep.
To,
So moved.
and a second? To add that to the,
Well,
it's
that's
actually
it.
on the agenda. All right, so it's on the agenda. We just didn't do it before we left. Okay, so here it is. Supplemental Memorandum of Agreement Resolution. Be it resolved that the board hereby approves the terms of a supplemental memorandum of agreement signed by the superintendent of schools and president of the Tuxedo Teachers Association, TTA, to provide for a retirement incentive for qualifying members of the TTA bargaining as presented to the board at this meeting. A copy of said supplemental memorandum of agreement shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting. So no, any discussion?
No.
No? Will? Gary?
no. Nope.
Okay. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Aye. Second? Oh. Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You guys, how are you voting?
Aye.
And Gary?
You don't hear us, rise.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
Yeah.
so the resolution passes. Now, is there any discussion following executive session?
Do we want to talk about some of the other items on our list?
That we've agreed upon.
Well, that we were going to talk about. So we had talked about potentially, I'm going to say the 14C elementary PE. So we would be moving, correct me if I'm wrong, from a 1.6 in PE coverage across both schools to a 1.0 PE coverage across both schools. Is that correct? Jeff, is that right?
Yes.
And
Correct.
and I think one of the advantages to this is that some of the elementary grades are little and it's more fun to play sports and games with more kids, and it might be helpful to combine for their development to combine some of those classes together, so there would not be a reduction in PE time for the kids. It would just mean that there would be more kids in each class, because like pre-K and K I'm not sure exactly how it would work out, but 2 grade levels would, I think, or more, I think just 2 would participate together. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So how does everybody feel about that?
I think it would be nice for the kids to have more in the class. I think it would actually be beneficial.
I think it would work out.
I agree. And at this juncture, I think this is a good move.
And then we have another one on our list is 15A, which, and everybody correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but my understanding is that we would be taking what is currently part of a specials period in the elementary school and returning that time to the general coursework, so that the kids would get more time in their core areas with their classroom teacher and fewer hours spent in a special. Although to the extent that the special that they would no longer be receiving would be STEM, the teachers are ready, willing, able, more than capable and certified to introduce that material and explore that material in the classroom time. So the kids, again, there wouldn't really be a reduction in their services, because they would still be getting STEM, they just wouldn't be getting it in a separate period, and they would be getting more time with their core teacher. Is that an accurate representation, Jeff?
Yes.
So what do you guys think?
I think there's a few options on the table. I think removing the position, I would agree with. I think that we need to evaluate those few options, come up with the best setup that works for the kids and benefits the kids for program.
When you say a few options, what are you thinking of?
I think that reviewing what the TTA put together, as well as what the superintendent is recommending, just to take a look at the different options.
But there's still, the TTA recommendation would still include returning that one period of specials time back to the classroom teachers, right?
I don't think that's what this means. This is, who's covering that class.
That's right, it's an attrition.
It's
It's a person who's retired, who's filling in
It's how
the spot, and what we're doing is we're not gonna return that person.
Right. But the impact for parents and for people in the class is that, or in the school, is that the kids would get more time in their
Yeah,
core
that's
area.
correct.
It depends, that's where Chris.
Oh,
is
so you
going.
think
That
maybe-
depends. You have to look over those other plans and see. That's a
I
possibility.
just want to review all the best options.
But the
Be
savings
able to
is
discuss
the
it.
reality.
Savings is the same.
Okay, so we're agreed that that's a reasonable
Yes.
thing to do. Okay,
Yes.
cool. So we can, Walter, you can note that.
Got it.
What else, Susan? Is there anything else on here that I'm
I don't
missing?
know if the guys online have a comment.
Oh yeah, do you guys want to comment on that? It's 15A.
They can't see it.
Oh, on Jeff's list. If you're looking at Jeff's list,
Do they have to?
it's the 93.
No, I'll jump in when I need to.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring up the in light of what we've heard from public comment about the music. I think it would be reasonable to compromise when it comes to the recommendation of 0.4 and maybe make it less of a cut. But I understand that we do need to cut things, and that I don't want to cut from primary, for classes. So I think a 0.6 would be more reasonable.
I would
Any
agree.
thoughts?
I would
Yeah.
agree with you.
In light of the statements that students have made, I would agree.
Yeah, I think so, right?
So just to be clear, that we would still be reducing the program to an extent, but we would just be reducing it less. So we're trying to respond both to the need to right size the program, but also to the recognized need that the kids have expressed that program is important to them.
Whilst considering the budgetary.
Yeah.
impact as well.
Yeah. What else on here that we need to talk about?
Okay, I think that we had talked about the needing to have another meeting on Monday.
Look at the excitement back there.
Walter's gonna pass out.
We need to have time to review more of the suggestions from all parties. And for consideration of, what we discussed in executive session. So,
Should we say we went into the executive session to talk about, how we were gonna maybe restructure the
Personnel matter.
personnel matters. And we're TBD on that discussion. We're awaiting some answers from the people involved and some legal answers, and that is one of the things that we hopefully will know by Monday.
Did you consider anything else? We're good, because we have more to talk about on Monday that we'll probably bring forward to the board, that it's things that we've talked about, or even maybe additional things that have been in the hopper. We'll bring more information to you as it comes available.
Because I will say, one of the things that's not that we didn't talk about today, but that we've talked about in the past, that people might be wondering what happened to it, was maybe trying to trim some of our clubs.
Yes, and remember, there's a proposal with the union for both club stipends and for coaching stipends. So hopefully they'll have time to review that, give us feedback, and we can come to some agreement. And that may result in some savings, and it may also just resolve those two open items in the contract, which would be nice. So we look forward to work with them on that.
I think for anybody watching this, you can take from it that we've tried to address two sets of concerns, and Jeff, you can describe them if you want as tactical and structural. So we're both trying to implement sort of long-term or changes that recognize the reality of the school, but also other changes that are responding to immediate needs. So these are thoughtful, not purely reactive changes. They're forward thinking, and I think people hopefully can see that a lot of thought and time and spirited discussion has gone into arriving at this list.
So as we mentioned before, the development took 3 years longer than we thought it was. Our enrollment is down significantly. So there's difference between types of cuts. We've already discussed in the past about things that are discretionary and non-discretionary cuts. So in budgeting and accounting and all that, there are a lot of different jargon. So we try to describe that to everybody. Another thing to consider is when you're reorganizing an organization to some extent. Some are long-term reorganizations, and that's considered a structural cut or a structural change, where you're structurally changing how things are going to be over a long period of time. A tactical cut is more like a 1 year sort of a thing to get you through a bad patch. And we're hoping that next year will be better, that we are going to get more enrollment, that the assessments are going to go up. And that's what we believe is going to happen. We need to get an updated demographic study for that. But we don't know what tomorrow brings. There's a war going on, oil prices, stock markets, we don't know. So this could be more than a year, we don't know. So tactical cuts are 1 year type things, structural cuts are long term. So you're 100% right.
Deb, do you want to share a little bit about the discussion that we had, or an update on possibly combining the buildings? I know you don't have like a full update or.
So we met with the architect and the architects. They came in and they met with the administration, and from a timing perspective, we would be unable to do that right now because we would need to get state education approval for any retrofitting construction work that we do that's over $10,000. And we might also need to get state approval on actually combining the two buildings. So we would not have enough time between now and the adoption, or even the end of the year, to accomplish that. That would be something on a year-long basis. The architect is going to come back, but suggested to us he doesn't know really what kind of a savings that would yield, because he sees the savings more in personnel. So if the district wanted to go to a one principal model, because it's one building, and have an assistant principal, that may yield some savings. I think if there's any custodial or anything like that, but he feels that the cost of retrofitting the building could far exceed the amount of savings. And if the enrollment does go up, we're going to have a place to go to. Doesn't like the idea of a vacant building is never a great idea. You don't want to have vacant buildings. The kids would all be having to go across the street to go to the gym, which is easier for secondary kids than it is for small elementary kids, especially in the inclement weather. So there's a lot of things to consider. We will put together a report for the community informing them about it. We did look at it. We're looking at everything. So at this juncture, it doesn't seem like it's a viable solution.
Any other comments?
Yes, I have a few. I'd like to know, have we taken a look at some of the other positions within the org chart to see if there's any other ways where we can cut back from a full-time, such as accounts payable, accounts receivable, other areas that you actually looked at for the amount of work that they do? And
particularly the areas you're mentioning, we have we have segregation of duty issues. You can't have we have a bare minimum business office. It's to the point where if you cut that anymore, you would have some serious accounting segregation of duty issues.
But is it a full-time role to do both of those positions?
Yeah, Walter, don't you think? You need full-time staff. They're up there working. Yeah. We've You're down to the bare
Well, I
bones.
asked because
It's a fair question.
we've brought up the guidance counselors, so now
Yeah.
there's other people that we wanna know, are they actually doing a full-time role?
Mhm.
Another question I have is, I believe we outsourced the district treasurer.
Yes.
Is there any way that that could be done by someone else within the district, or is there any?
Not
way
without
we could-
compromising, the segregation of duties, the internal controls of the district.
So there's no way to do that?
No, and we get that person at an incredible price, and the skill level the person has. You never get somebody for that level of skill for that price.
Cause I believe we've done it.
You've done what before?
I think we've had the treasurer, do a dual duty, I don't recall what his other role was at the time. He was the treasurer and did payroll at the same time. I just wanna make sure that we're exploring all possibilities.
Oh, yeah.
Across all staffing, and not just, we're looking, we're doing a broad,
Yeah, we are.
view.
We definitely are.
Okay, so, a couple other things.
If you have
I
suggestions,
just like to ask, is this a public comment or is this like comment from you? Is somebody like texting in or?
No, these are mine.
Okay.
These
It sounded like this was somebody who just brought up a question.
No,
Okay.
no, no, I've taken some notes,
Okay.
they're not on our original list. We're in a budgetary crisis, so I wanna make sure we ask every single
Yeah, that's
possible question
Sure.
that we can.
and you may ask a question that we haven't thought of, that's possible, we're human as well, but those particular items, I don't think that, there's any movement there. Walter, if you feel differently, chime in.
Okay. I did look up, school psychologists, they are, so under the law, under 8 NYCRR 200.4, it basically states that, a school psychologist, in a school, you must have access to a school psychologist, but it doesn't mention any requirement as a full-time. So is it possible that that could be outsourced potentially to a BOCES, where we could possibly get?
We are looking into BOCES for a lot of shared services. I will ask about if we could do a shared service with the psychology.
I'm just curious, is it possible we were able to cut that back and be able to contract out to BOCES, and be able to get aid and be able to cut back on those costs?
So
I don't expect you to have an answer, Jeff.
Yeah, no,
Off the top of your
I'll give
head,
you some quick background. So shared service with BOCES, there has to be another district that has a need. So is it possible? Absolutely. Is it definite? No, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but we can certainly look at that. I'll take a look at it.
Okay. As far as services that we have in the school, have we looked at across all the services, all the service contracts that we have, or can any of them be cut back? Can any of them be renegotiated? Is there anything that's a nice to have that we are able to actually cut out of the budget? It's a 1-year thing, we need to look at everything. Like,
So actually, one of the, we had this question come up before, right? And one of the questions was about like the cell phones and did you see the response to that? And then the landscaping, we got an answer on that.
okay,
So I know there's other contracts, but just,
So I have a question, right? So the faculty and the students all drink out of a water fountain, but certain offices have water coolers. Like, what is our cooler service contract? What does that cost the district? It costs a couple $1,000.
Walter, do you know?
Do we know? Could you?
Yeah.
Is there anything, any other service contracts that you can think of that we could possibly?
Not off the top of my head, and we'll take another look, but nothing that comes to the top of my mind.
Okay. Any sort of books that could be delayed, that don't need to be updated this year, that we could hold off until next year? That's
Well-
possibly in the queue. I don't want to impact program at all, I just want to ask the question, right? If you spend $20,000 in books, do you have to have, is that book outdated, or could you wait a year?
Yeah, I think the principals, did a thorough look at the textbooks this year, right, Jared? To see exactly what we needed.
It's already accounted for in the $50,000 reduction.
Okay, great.
did you hear that? Well, Mr. Kmart said that it's already
Yeah,
accounted
yes,
for.
just curious, who delivered the water? Do you remember the name? Is it Viking Pure?
Culligan?
Cullinan, isn't that the water?
Culligan?
What's, okay, now. I have Viking Pure on here, it sounded like water.
No, Viking Pure, I think, is the cleaning solution. It's environmentally friendly cleaning solution. We can't use many chemicals in schools. There's only certain things that are approved, and I believe Viking Pure is how we do that.
So those are cleaner.
Yeah.
Well, we don't wanna drink that.
Nope. That's green cleaning.
Did Walter look at all this when he started, when he came in?
These just, this has been the
Well,
last.
we could take a look.
I didn't wanna add them, I didn't wanna clutter the original conversation about the items that we were talking about, so I held them back. So that's why I decided to bring them up, because I know we only have Monday now, so if we could do any sort of additional, like, look around to see if there's anything else we can cut, now's the time to do it, we only have till Monday.
Walter, have you done this already? Like when you first looked at, when you first started looking at it? I
We
remember.
went through all, I would say we went through all the service lines in it, met with maintenance and operations, technology, any possible service that we have within our contract. We've eliminated a couple of them from last year.
What did you eliminate?
There was some services we felt that we didn't need. I don't know them all off the top of my head.
That's right. Well,
That's
you,
okay.
you don't need to know. We can always get back to it. We don't put you on the spot.
Can we just do another quick review to just see, are there any other items that we could possibly consider as cuts?
We're doing that every day. I assure you, we're trying to consider everything we possibly can. We're human. We'll miss something, very possibly, but we're doing our level best to try to get through everything. Yeah, I torture these people all day with all this stuff, wouldn't you say? They got to look at the room downstairs.
All right, any other comments for discussion?
So we're good for Monday?
Okay.
7:30?
7:30 on Monday. Can everybody be here in person, or do we need to have
Chance.
notices?
I'll try.
I'm trying to be there, but thank you.
Any chance we can move that up just a little bit?
Earlier?
I can go.
I can't get here till 7:30. But if I did remote, I could do it. So I could do remote.
7:30.
If you do
We did
remote,
7.
then you can still.
I can't, like, because once I start driving, I can't then, like, connect. Because I drive an hour. So,
Your phone does, your car and your phone don't like each other.
not really. I'm not that tech savvy to be able to do that with my voice. But I could pull over. I guess I could pull over.
No, I don't want you to, 7:30 is fine. I don't, that's crazy, that's, if it was convenient enough that you could do both, it's okay, 7:30.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so, ready? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, kid.
Thank you, everybody.
Very